when Mad Men happened, I was friends with John Hamm. He played a cable guy on the Sarah Silverman program, you know?
Right.
So then he called me and he's like, hey, I'm doing this pilot on AMC. You should audition for it. And I said, I'm not going to audition for a pilot on AMC. Like, I was laughing at him. Like, that's that old movie channel.
You auditioned for Jumanji. The role went to Kirsten Dunst. Is that true or false?
That is true.
As a kid, did you go to see Jumanji after?
Yeah, I saw Jumanji, but I liked it. I liked Jumanji.
Yes, but do you sit there and go, motherfuckers, why didn't they take me?
No, I wasn't bitter enough at then.
Yeah, now you're
Now
bitter.
I'm bitter.
The Parent Trap. Lindsay Lohan was the girl in The Parent Trap.
Right.
Did you audition for that?
Yes.
You did. Did you go see The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan?
No, I don't
did
think
not.
so.
You've never seen
I started to get bitter at that point.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It was hard for you.
It
Is
was
that
hard
true?
for me.
It
No,
was.
no.
You auditioned for Les Mis, right?
I auditioned for Les Mis. Yeah,
You didn't get it because you had laryngitis.
I did. I had laryngitis, but I tried.
You
but
tried.
I don't know if that's why I didn't get it. I probably didn't get it because I wasn't right for it.
Anne Hathaway got it.
And she was great in that film.
What, she's better
And
than
she
you?
got an Academy
Come on.
Award.
Yeah.
That was your Academy Award.
Were you supposed to star in the movie Gravity with Angelina Jolie? Of course, it ended up being George Clooney and Sandra Bullock.
Right.
And the movie made a ton of dough, and it was very successful.
It did great.
You were the first choice. And you, in fact, well, go ahead.
Everybody winds up doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And sometimes someone gets in a motorcycle accident, and then the person who winds up doing the part
kills it.
And you say, I couldn't have imagined anyone else there. I came on early in the development process. I don't think Angelina was even attached at that point.
Right.
But Alfonso and I really kind of hit it off. And then by the time I said, Sandy Bullock is really... And I've heard stories like this from Clooney himself, where you're involved in things and you just kind of want to help, whether you wind up being in it or not, because you like the people involved. And it was that kind of story.
Yeah, but you were in it, and then you said you got out of it by telling the director, I can't work in this confined space. I don't want to be just locked in a fucking tin can for a whole movie.
What I can tell you is I went to do a test with a new sort of spherical camera thing they were doing for how they were going to do all the CGI, and I'm one of those guys who can be comfortably uncomfortable pretty easily.
Right.
And I went in the morning to do that, and we did it for about 20 minutes. I said, "This is crazy. How much longer?" They go, "It's like another 2 to 4 hours." I said, "No, it isn't."
And you left.
You got to have boundaries. You got to leave before you flip out.
Right. You think if you would know, like Clooney got a $70 million paycheck off of that movie, and so did Sandra Bullock. $70 million.
Okay.
Maybe you would have put up with that fucking harness if you'd known that. At the time it wasn't clear if this thing would be huge.
Again, you can. Any of us can have anything, but we can't have everything.
I was thinking about your acting career. You kind of blew off a big opportunity. This was the time when Mad Men...
I'm just saying I have terrible instincts. Like, when Mad Men happened, I was friends with John Hamm. He played a cable guy on the Sarah Silverman program, you know?
Right.
So then he called me and he's like, hey, I'm doing this pilot on AMC. You should audition for it. And I said, I'm not going to audition for a pilot on AMC. Like, I was laughing at him. Like, that's that old movie channel.
Well, you were even more outrageous. You said to him, listen, I've got my own TV show. Why do I have to go audition?
Show on Comedy Central.
Yeah, go fuck off.
And then, I remember getting the script. These aren't offers or anything,
Right.
but like my agent sent me the script for Bridesmaids, and I just read the title and was like, fuck this. Bridesmaids. I'm a bridesmaid. And now that's probably I've seen that like 15 times.
Does
so
it
it's like
kill
one of my
you?
all-time favorite movies.
Are you filled with regret when something like that happens?
No.
You don't dwell on that.
I don't watch Bridesmaids and go, oh, I should have played this part or this part. I just watch it and I love it. Like, I die laughing every time. And I remember when I first came out, when I first was working, the pilot for Friends was floating around, the script.
I heard you were sort of offered something in Friends. No,
100% no. I was too young. I was younger.
Okay.
But I remember the script going around and crying, laughing at how dumb the title was. I was like, Friends.
She doesn't even crack open the script.
Sarah, is that a problem sometimes when you're a very smart comedian that you're almost too hip for the room and everything is kind of silly and stupid? Like Friends is stupid. Oh, I'm not going to Bridesmaid. Oh, I'm not going to go on AMC. Like it's almost like you're too smart for your own good.
Ended up being my favorite thing.
Right. You auditioned for Friends.
Yes.
And you didn't get it, and it's a heartbreaking story. You put your audition on tape. And you mailed it into the people at Friends, right? You sent it to them.
I was doing a. It's only heartbreaking to me.
No, it's heartbreaking for me to read it.
I think The World got Chandler Bing by Matthew Perry, which was, I think, a work of genius.
But don't you think you would have been
did not get its heartbroken. I, however, did.
But don't you think you could have been a good Chandler Bing? Honestly,
I think I could have been a decent one. I don't think I would have been at the level of Matthew Perry. And on some level, and I talk about this in the book, that when you audition for something and don't get it. It's only when you see somebody do it not well that you get mad. I don't get mad. When I see an actor hit it out of the park, it's like, well, of course, no wonder they gave it to that guy.
I'm so glad you said that because I've asked a million actors that same question. I go, what happens when you don't get the movie role? And then you go to see the movie. And a lot of them say, we don't even go to see the movie. But you go to see the movie and the guy kills it.
Yeah.
Does it just break your heart?
No, it doesn't at all.
No.
It's exactly the opposite. And for me, I auditioned for Reservoir Dogs,
right?
Which was
you wanted to be Mr. Pink.
Yes.
Yes.
And no, they wanted me to be Mr. Pink.
Right.
What happened was I was flying to New York on a Saturday. And I got this script right before I got on the plane, and they said they want to meet you on Sunday. It's the only day that this young director can meet with people in New York. And that's the only day you have to do it. And I was on the plane, and I tried to read the script, but if you saw the movie, it's all over the place. And you're like, what are these people talking about? And what? It was a robbery, but then there's cutting an ear off. And
There's no script there.
What is going on here?
Right.
There actually is a great
right, but it's
script
very
there,
complicated.
But it's very complicated,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't handle it on flight 007 going into JFK. So I read as much of it as I could, but I couldn't finish it. And I thought, oh God, I'm going to go into this thing not really prepared. And the next morning, though, I get this call from my sister that her mother-in-law is ill. She's got to go out and visit her in Long Island. And so can I take her daughter? Can I take care of her daughter? And I go, oh, I have a good reason that I can't go to this audition now. I got to take care of my niece.
Goodness.
And so I call up the producer, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't audition for this thing. And he's like, please, we really want you to come in. And I was like, yeah, but you got this whole monologue. What is he talking about? Madonna and all that.
It was hard to follow.
It's hard to follow. And finally, I just had to beg off and not audition for
and then
what
you
ended up
find
being
out,
a brilliant movie.
When did you go see the movie? Steve Buscemi, of course,
Steve
got the
Buscemi
part.
plays that part,
it,
yeah.
and he's great. And the nice thing for me is that I know that I wouldn't have gotten that part even if I showed up.
You think so?
I really don't. I
And-
truly don't believe I would have.
Well, you say that, but who knows? And you're a really good actor, and I think when you see Steve Buscemi gets it, and then you see it was a great movie, that's just such a horrible part of show business. I couldn't handle that. Did you go to the theater to see the movie?
I did.
You were curious.
I was curious, and
you're like,
I was
"Oh,
blown
fuck."
away, and mostly I was mostly mad at myself for not getting the script.
Well, that's a good lesson.
Yeah.
When you're working with Leonardo DiCaprio, you do the movie Romeo and Juliet with him. You go later on and you audition for the movie Titanic, which was a blockbuster. You get the part. They want you for the lead in Titanic. You turn it down because you said it would be redundant to be in a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and play his love interest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I got that. I think
You did.
I was okay.
Don't be modest. You got the part. Kate Winslet ended up taking it, right?
Yeah, it was going to shoot in Mexico City, where we had just filmed Romeo and Juliet, for another 6 months. I really needed another experience.
But now take me into this.
Yeah.
when Titanic, and I'm thinking back, that movie won all kinds of Academy Awards. It was one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. From a career standpoint, are you then saying, oh my God, what did I do? This would have been huge. This would have put me on the map, really solidified me.
I think I didn't. I mean, I remember when Leo was deciding to take that movie, he really wrestled with it. It was a profound choice, and really the question was, do I want to go off into the stratosphere right now? And I think he decided that he did. And I think I decided that I didn't.
You mean when you read the script, you knew that it would be a game changer?
Yeah.
So you made the decision.
Yeah, I think I really wasn't ready to. I had a lot more developing to do as a person. I knew I wanted to go to college.
That is an amazing thing to say no to stuff like that. That's something I've struggled with my whole career. It's very hard for me to say no. And there are things that are offered to me that I know would be big in my career, and I feel like I have to grab them. I would think a young actress would just say, oh, the fame thing, and the quote goes up, and the money, and everything that comes along with Titanic.
If you're not deeply aligned with that choice, it's not going to serve you. It's not going to benefit you.
That is very evolved.
It's just true.
Weren't you offered Superman
Yes.
at one point? Were you offered to play the Christopher Reeve role as Superman?
Yeah, but you have to understand that when Superman was made, it was written by Mario Puzo, and it was all tongue-in-cheek. It was hysterical.
Right.
Hysterical.
Right.
So because it was all tongue-in-cheek. So like when Superman first learns he can fly and he shows off, he does loop-de-loops and this and that.
Yeah.
And to typicalize, is that such a word?
Yeah,
Sure.
typical.
I didn't ask about that word. I knew that existed.
I think the one you said is a made-up word.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So someone approached
With
you
that
about,
word that you said.
they approached you about playing Superman.
Right. So now I read it. I want to give you an example of when Clark Kent is just devastated because she's in love with Superman. Physically, the office is set up at the paper.
For Daily Planet.
Exactly.
Right.
If you go in order to get to Clark Kent's office, you must pass through Lois Lane's office. You
Right.
understand, to get there. So there's no other way in. So one day, Clark is so pissed off because she's in love with Superman. He goes, screw it, And this is just a typical scene the way it was written then. And he rips his clothes off and he's got a Superman thing under there. And he goes, Lois, come in here. She goes, come on in here. So she comes in and she looks at him. She goes, that's sweet, Clark, but
Superman.
that's really
That's
sweet.
how it was written. And
then she walks out and he goes, looks in the mirror. He goes, maybe a little tuck here, a little. I mean, it was all tongue in cheek.
Why didn't they make the movie with you as Superman?
Because another director did it, and he did that. I mean, Christopher Reeves, God bless him.
Right.
Were
you pissed that you didn't get to play Superman?
No, because what happened, it was the Salkin brothers. And they said it was going to be 2 movies. Now, at the time, I was very lucky. I could do whatever I want. I could have done, the phone book. I was that big.
Right.
Anyway, so I got a call from Brando one night. Hey, Jimmy, come on, you going to do this picture with me? I said, no. I need some laughs. I used to make him laugh like in the drop of a hat.
Yeah, Christopher Reeve wasn't going to make him laugh.
No, but that wasn't the reason.
Right.
He says, you got to do this picture with me. And now, obviously, there was a lot of that.
Yeah. Well,
I said, but Marlon, I can't. He says, what is it, the money or something? No, they pay me plenty of money. It has nothing to do with it. He says, but come on. I said, you're going to be there 3.5 weeks. I'm there for like 4 months. What kind of laughs we're going to have together? You'll have your laughs and you'll take off and you'll leave me alone.
That's right. We
he says, no. We work something out. I said, Marlon, they're making 2 movies out of it, not 1.
Right.
You got to make 2. He says, so what? I'm doing it. And I said, yeah, but you don't have to wear the suit. And he went, and he hung up. I never heard from him again.
Bobby, someone once told me you were up for the Costanza role in Seinfeld. Is that true?
Yes, I was.
How'd you blow that?
Well, I went in to read for it, and I was sitting on the couch, and I had the script, and some guy came over. There's a lot of people in the room there, to audition. So this guy's sitting next to me, and he says, hey, what do you think of this script? And I said, well, Jerry's a really funny guy, but whoever wrote this, they don't know dick about writing, sitcoms.
Yeah.
And it was Larry David that I was
going to
talking
say, that
to.
must have been Larry David.
Nice.
And so I didn't know, and he didn't say, guess who I am, and because he's not like that. And he has a pretty good sense of humor, except for that day. And anyway, so then it comes time for me to go in and read, and I walk in.
And who's sitting there?
Him and Seinfeld and George Shapiro. And I said, I really don't have to bother auditioning, do I? And they said, nope.
Oh.
That was it. No, but I've been up for Curb Your Enthusiasm 3 times.
Well, what are you going to do? All right, so that's a really heartbreaking story. Too bad.
It is.
You were offered the role of Black Widow in the Marvel series.
Yeah.
And that's a great role for Scarlett Johansson, but that would have been a great role for you too, and a slam dunk big role. But you had to turn it down because you're so fucking busy that you were doing Gulliver's Travels at that point.
No. I actually do want to clean up the story on Gulliver's Travels. I was contracted to do Gulliver's Travels. I didn't want to do Gulliver's Travels. It was a bit of a heartbreaker for me because I take such pride in the decisions that I make, and they mean so much to me, the films that I do. So that was tough.
I don't even understand how that happens. Because you do Devil Wears Prada, the studio says, we'll give you this film, but you've got to promise us you'll do another film and make that decision in a certain amount of time. Is that the idea of it?
Yeah, and they kind of have a bit of a hold over you. So there were other movies that I would want to do, and I'd say, but I really want to do this movie about young Victoria. And so at some point, I think it just became evident that I needed to get rid of this optional picture deal because it was going to just hang over me for a long time. And I didn't want that. And ultimately, as hard as it was, I don't think anyone expected for the hand to be forced. I think you kind of like hope that it isn't. But it was, yes, I care deeply, very, very much about the choices I make. That's all I have are the choices that I make. Because after that, it's really left up to the gods, like what happens. And you usually don't really have any idea why a movie catches fire and why it doesn't. But no, I'm never left with a feeling of regret when I turn something down. It is, I know in 20 pages if I love it, it's ethereal as to why I like it. I don't know why I like it. I just love it. And I'm in or I'm out after 20 pages.
So when you show up on the set of Gulliver's Travel, because you're a professional, you're going to do the best you possibly can.
For sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I was never looking like a slapped ass on set. I'm not. I would never, ever do that. And no one knew. And I also didn't talk about it with anyone on set or anything because there were a lot of lovely people in it who were heaven to work with. And I actually had a really good time. I had a laugh with all of them. But it irked my heart for it to have happened in the first place. But I ended up I will always try and make the best of any situation, for sure.